Hey guys, I'm back and I'm going to share with you how I make my wigs when I'm using a 360 lace frontal. As you've seen in my last video, I did reach the 360 lace frontal. She came out beautifully. If you guys want to know how to bleach the knots on the 360 lace frontal, just go ahead and check out the video listed below. So I already applied the dry fit dome cap to the wig head. I am going to be listing that below. I'm just going to be lining up the actual 360 hairline with the end of the dome cap. Now it looks like the hair is falling into the doll head's face. Trust, this doll head is pretty small headed compared to my big head, so it is going to run over slightly. Don't worry about that. Just make sure that the dome cap fits you before. Now this gap in the back is going to be non-existent once you go ahead and actually sew all of it down. So I'm going to go ahead, double knot that string, and I'm just going to sew through the bottom, and then we're going to create a double knot there. So it's just basically putting the string through the opening that's left through the string. So it's creating like this giant knot. And just double secures, make sure everything is going to stay in place. Now you don't have to do this all the way around the head, but I like to do this in the first two stitches and then just completely stitch all the way around. Now be careful when stitching because you don't want it to tug. It is the stretchy cap, so it'll, gather if you pull it too hard or you have like one area like this right now. If you see how I'm putting that through there and it has such a large area to get through, it can create this tugging effect. Now if I were to pull on that with all of my pressure, it would just create this like little pulling effect and then make the wig cap a lot smaller than it is, so be careful when doing that. Now I am going underhand, don't worry about going over or under. I just find that going under allows it to look a lot flatter. So now I'm going to start adding the bundles of hair. Now a few tips before adding the bundles of hair. Now some people get confused about hair placement. These areas are basically your guidelines. You do not want to go past these with hair, and you do not want to stop before you have filled these areas with hair. For the first two bundles, I will be doubling up the wefts. Now you do want to apply the lower weft directly on top of where the hair starts on the 360 frontal. So as you can see, I'm connecting the 360 frontal to the actual weft. I don't want there to be any like space between. I want you to be able to put this in a pony and not see any of the lace. Now don't worry about it being too bulky in the back just because we're only doubling up the first couple of bundles. Once we get up to the top, we will start singling them. Now I am using a fold over method, and I know this tends to look a little bit bulkier, but if you're worried about that, go ahead and cut your wefts. I personally don't like to cut my wefts unless I really have to. This just helps prevent shedding, so I mean, if you don't have to cut your wefts, or if you're okay with the fold over method, then go ahead and use a fold over method. Guys, just a little disclaimer. I know you guys are probably looking like, damn girl, can you put some like jerkins on those ashy ass hands? But girl, I cannot, I cannot grip the needle if my hands are slippery, and I just got done bleaching this lace frontal, so yeah. Now as you can see, once I get up into the corner, I am going to reach where the hair ends. So what you're going to do is start folding over. Like you're going to fold the hair over and work your way back to the other side. Now you're just going to lift it up just a little bit. I don't really have a clip of that, but I will show you towards the end what I'm talking about. Now, as you can see, I'm like having a really hard time pulling it through just because I doubled it, and these needles are always so hard for me to like pull through. I don't know why. But yeah, just make sure that your threading is kind of close to each other just so you make sure everything is secure. Don't do it like I sewed down the 360 frontal. That will not hold and it won't look cute. So once you get over to the side and there's not any more hair left to fold over, you're just going to go ahead and cut off the weft. Now be gentle when you do this because you don't want to cut into the other hair and create like little, like an extra beard looking thing. So just be careful when cutting the wefts off the hair. Now I'm going to do the 22 inch. It's going to be exactly the same way as well as a 20. Now you can see that the hair is getting higher onto the wig cap, and we're kind of closing up towards the crown. Now once you get to the top of the crown where the 360 and the last weft meet, you want to combine those two. So you want to go ahead and sew through the weft and then connect it through the 360 frontal, and you want to close up that gap. Girl, I am legit dying over this ashiness. I cannot deal with it right now. Not even joking, I wish there was like an editing tool for that. Now sewing those two together is just going to make sure that the 360 frontal and the wefts are secure together, and it's just going to close up the wig and make it complete. Now don't worry about seeing the stitching, this isn't going to show at all. And also the reason why I said to make sure you're just singling the wefts up top is just because it gets a little bit bulky and you don't want to look like you have a helmet on. Make sure you double knot the end of the string. Now you're going to turn the wig inside out. Now I am using a styrofoam little wig head, so I do have all these little pieces inside, so just clean those out unless you're using like the hard one. You're just going to cut off the excess of the wig cap from the inside. Now be careful when doing this because you don't want to cut off any of the stitching and make any of the bundles unravel from the 360 frontal. So be careful. I really like these wig caps. I also like the netted wig caps, but I couldn't find any in my local beauty supply store, so I used a dome cap. This is a final look of how the wig came out. She's so gorgeous. I do have a full video on the review of the hair that I am using, but I am wanting to customize the front. This wig already comes with some baby hairs, but I am going to pull out some hairs around the perimeter of the face so I can make some more. And I'm just going to grab like a little eyebrow razor, nothing major. You can grab like a spray bottle and wet up the hair on the perimeter. Now I'm just going to cut the hair framing the face. And then afterwards I'll show you how I get rid of some of the density around the baby hairs. Just because my natural baby hairs are not like very dense at all. So when a wig has too much density in the front, it tends to look a little wiggy on me. So I like to cut the baby hairs around the face and then go ahead and like tweeze out some of the density from the actual baby hairs that I just created. Now I just wanted to share with you guys these razors and how well they work for cutting around the perimeter of the hair compared to like professional razors or something. If you didn't want to go ahead and purchase those, they do really well and they do not leave a blunt cut. So I like them a lot because when you're doing your baby hairs, you do not want to cut like any blunt cuts because you're just gonna make it look like, it's just gonna look like really fake. Of course, your natural baby hairs are not like super blunt cut or thick, so you do want to make sure that the ends are a lot thinner. Make sure you're getting those sideburns as well. You don't want those thick old sideburns. So now that I've created those baby hairs, I am going to thin the density out and just get some tweezers and start plucking away on the hairline. This is just going to create a more realistic hairline. You know, your real hairline isn't super thick. It usually is very thin in the front until it gradually turns to like a thick head of hair. It usually doesn't start thick right off of the bat. So I mean, some women can get away with it and it looks okay on them, but for the most part, I like to thin out my hairline just because it looks really wiggy on me if I don't. Now, I'd rather pull out more than not pull out enough, just because once I put it onto my scalp and the color of my scalp blends in with the lace, you won't be able to see at all. Now, as you can see, there's a big difference between the tweezed area and the non-tweezed area. As you continue to tweeze, you might feel like, oh my gosh, I've taken out too much hair, but trust me, it is not too much hair. Once you put it on and you see the difference that it's made, you're going to be happy that you did it. So just continue to tweeze it out and just make those baby hairs very like thin. I don't want them full like they are now. So this does take some time, so just be patient with it and make sure you're not poking too hard or pulling too hard because you do not want to rip the lace. You should also be able to tell where the hairline is supposed to stop by the ear tabs on here. So as you can see on the corner, I do have the ear tab held down with the wig pin. So just be aware of that. As you can see, I got rid of a lot of the density from the hairline, so it looks really, really natural right now. Believe it or not, I even still had to go back in and get rid of some of the density from the wig because it just didn't look as natural as I wanted. Now this is a final product after I installed the wig. I just used some Gots to Be glue. I did not glue this unit down or sew it down. I do have a full initial review with me wearing this wig. This is hair from Ali Moda Hair. It is an Aliexpress vendor. So if you guys want to know more or see more on this video of me wearing the wig, go ahead and click on the video right here. I do want to thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Thank you guys. I love you, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.